when it comes to being productive, I say productive, right? With our time, efficient with our time, high performing with our time. There's a lot that goes into that, but I'm going to talk today specifically about some of the habits that you can have that will help guide you to that. Okay, now we all have a different thought process. We all work differently. We all have a different brain. So take what you will and apply it, with what works for you. This is the thought process that's worked for me, that's helped me to keep on task, to not be so frustrated with my time. Because one thing that I always was very frustrated about was not feeling like I was in control of my time. And in this job, I kept trying to figure out, how do you, when we're at the mercy of our clients and things can go sideways at any time, I was feeling so out of control. And I'm not really OCD, but you still, you can't plan your life when people call you randomly and need something randomly, right? And that's what our job is. So how do we create some stability inside that so that we have the control? And that's what I'm going to teach you today. All right, who's ready? Ready? All right. Woohoo! Okay. All right, here we go. So the first thing we do, Sundays, we plan. Okay, every Sunday we plan. You're going to plan for the week. And when I say plan, this is what you do. You go through your week, you talk to your family at dinner, right? You go through and you come up with whatever the family has for the week. The kids have games, the husband has something, you have dinner out, whatever it is, whatever time of day, you're going to go through and you're going to put that in your calendar. Now, you can be a paper calendar person, you can be a digital calendar person, I don't care. Put it somewhere, find the one thing that works for you, and you have to be consistent at it. Okay, I used to, shameless plug, I have my planner. I used to write it down, put it in my phone, and then sync the two together essentially. So I was kind of double checking myself. I get so sick of my phone. I don't want to look at it anymore. I get sick of my computer. I don't want to look at it anymore. So having a piece of paper to write on for whatever reason is therapeutic for me. And I can just open it up and be like, okay, and see everything in front of me without having to scroll. And for whatever reason, this works for me. Okay. So go through, fill in what you already know is coming up for the week, just 1 week ahead. Okay. Then you need to time block any space for actions. Okay. So what does that mean? So when we plan the week, we have our family, and then we have our work. So you've got to fill in both, whatever the family has, and then whatever you have for work coming up. Okay. Then when I say time blocking for action, once you fill this in, you're like, okay, now you can see I've got some space open. So now what am I going to do this week to help me take action to be able to move forward in my business? Right? So if you don't have anything on your calendar, if it's a little bit of work and then your family stuff, you don't just go, I'm free. Yay, I got my whole week off. I'm going to go to Bed Bath & Beyond and walk around, right? Granted, we do that sometimes, but those spaces that you have, you are now going to assign things to that space. Okay. Some hints here. Find out when your most productive time is. I'm most productive in the morning or at 10 o'clock at night when my phone's not ringing off the hook, or people don't need something, or the kids aren't interrupting me. That's my time when I can focus and do the things that I usually have to force myself to do, whether it's the research or catching up on the paperwork or sending out the emails or whatever it is. That's a good time for me. Find out when you're most productive. Most of us, by the time we get going during the day, if we ever leave the house for an appointment, it's hard to get us back and centered at our computer to be very productive. Anybody else besides me? Once I'm out, I can't calm myself back down to where I'm very focused. So then I'm kind of all over the place, and I'm not being effective with my time. It's not a great use of my time. Okay, so So time block out for what action items, and we'll talk a little bit at the end about some action items because, right, if we aren't making the amount of money that we want to make, then we have to look at this, right? We all have time. Nobody gets to say you don't have enough time because it's amazing how much stuff you can fit in if you're actually very efficient with your time. Absolutely amazing. Okay. Okay. So that's the first thing. The next thing is nightly. Did I just spell that right? I did. Okay. Okay. So nightly. So each night, so now we've got our week planned. And inevitably, let me tell you one thing though. So when we have our week planned, the awesome part about this and having it planned is that when you get a phone call and somebody wants to, want you to show them a house, or you have a listing appointment or whatever, right? Or you call them and you get yourself a listing appointment, you have all the spaces available where you can say, oh, does this time or this time work? Because what happens is if you leave it on the client and they're like, hey, can you come over Wednesday at noon? And you're like, sure, I'll come over Wednesday at noon. And then you're like, oh, shoot, I just double booked myself. Right. So you flip open your planner or you open up your phone and you go, here's the couple spots that, I don't say, here's the spots I have available. I just say, what, does this work good or does this work good? Or what days are good for you? And then I try to fit them into there. Okay. So that's the awesome thing. Then you can start plugging in and increasing business that way. Okay, so nightly. So each day when we have our things that we're going to do, we have like appointments, but we have to-dos, right? We have kind of our to-do list. Nightly, we need to see what we need to check off. So what did you accomplish on your to-dos today? You will notice if you have a pattern, if I have 5 or 6 to-dos and I didn't check any of them off, be very self-aware that maybe you didn't use your time very wisely today, or maybe some other things got in the way, which is okay. Make sure at that time you move whatever is not checked off to the next day. So don't leave it. This is the mistake. If you leave it on that day and you figure you're just going to go back and you'll take care of it, you're going to ultimately forget. So move that to the next day. Okay. And then at night, we want to look ahead. We want to prepare for the next day. There is some calming when you look ahead to the next day. You're aware of what your schedule is going to be. You know if you have open times. You can kind of gear yourself up, right? If you look at it, you're like, man, it's a really packed day. I better make sure I got food in my car or whatever it is, right? Like if it's going to be a really busy day, or, oh, it's not going to be a very busy day. Do I need a break? Maybe I'll go to Bed Bath & Beyond today. Or maybe I need to find some other activities to do if I have too much space that's open, right? So that gets you thinking, because if you wait till the morning to look to see what your day looks like, you're one step behind. One step behind, okay? So look ahead to prepare for the next day. Okay, daily. I can write. Okay, so this I just kind of talked about, but you want to keep a list. My number one tool, I would say, is you make sure that if someone asks you something, tells you something, if you tell someone you will do something, you write it down right then. So either you stick it in the planner on the to-dos, or you open up your notes app on your notes, or whatever your method is. All I can say is pick a method. Don't do sometimes on your phone and sometimes in your planner and sometimes in your calendar, because then you're going to lose the information. The easiest way for us to lose clients is to not get back to them in a timely manner. We have more lost business that way than anything. So if you tell somebody I'll call you back, and then we get distracted and go do something else, we totally are going to forget to call them back. I'm sorry. I'm 40. I don't know about you. I'm 41. I can't remember everything all the time anymore. Plus, this is a complicated job. There's things going all different directions. So write it down. Okay, keep a list. Again, if it is something that applies to that day and you need to do it that day, great, put it on that day or assign a time to it. It doesn't have to just stay on the general list. If you know, like, okay, I have to do this thing for somebody and you assign a time to it, you've got open space, put it on your schedule so that it's assigned a time. That helps us mentally to not just shove it off to the next day. Or to say like, oh, I don't have anything to do right here, right? It helps us to fill in those gaps and actually use that time wisely, okay? So keep the list, again, assign a time and be specific. So when I mean specific, I'm usually talking about our action items. So as an example, if I say, I'm going to make calls, that's too general. Okay, I was coaching one of my agents yesterday and I said, okay, and she's having, this is why the topic came up and this is why it was so late. And she says to me, I said, what does your day look like? What is your plan for the day? And so we're going over her day and she's like, I said, what's your plan? Like, what do you do? And she has make calls. And I'm like, well, what kind of calls are you making? You calling your grandma? Calling your boyfriend? Like, who are you calling? Right? If we don't have a plan for exactly what we're doing, when we get to that point to do it, guess what? She's not doing it. Because there's not enough specificity in what it is that she's writing down. So if you're going to call 10 people off of your cold call list, or call 10 for sale by owners, or whatever it is, right? Send 10 emails to past clients. Give yourself that specific, and at the same time, you go, okay, it should take me how long? That should take me maybe 30 minutes. Let's just say. So then you're gonna block out your 30-minute time block for when you will do that. Sometimes the daunting things for us are, we look at the list and we got 10 things on the list and we're like, gosh, it's gonna take too long. I'm just not gonna do any of them. I don't know about you, that's me, okay? So if the list is too long, number one, or if we don't actually sit down, break it down and be like, yeah, this really only takes about 15 minutes. I should just make myself do it at this time specifically, okay? Lakeisha's asking, how do you include your weekends? What does your Saturday and Sunday look like? So for me, Saturdays I try to leave open because inevitably someone likes to call and say, can you go show me a house? So unless I have an open house scheduled for a Saturday, I actually try to keep my Saturdays like wide open. I try to put any of my clients that are asking to meet, I try to put them during the week because I've got time during the week. And you can guide your clients wherever you want to guide them. If you say an open-ended what day works for you, and they pick Saturday, well, you can't be pissed off that you had to work on Saturday because you didn't guide them in saying, hey, what works better, Monday or Thursday? And then let them choose from that, right? So guide the clients. So my Saturday, I try to keep open because yeah, then if somebody calls, I can go show a property, which will happen, or I can be able to chill or have my house cleaned, you know, or spend some family time or catch up. Sometimes I just like to catch up on like office stuff when I'm at home on Saturdays. On Sundays, I don't plan anything. My schedule looks like church and board games. That's what my Sunday looks like, and cooking something good. So if my habit is I tend to answer the phone Sundays. If I have a listing, then I feel like it's my duty to answer the phone to schedule the showings so that they can get in. And sometimes I'll do that via text. Like if I've got all my family sitting around me and somebody tries to call to schedule a showing, they'll usually leave a message. I'll just text them back, text the client, get it set up. Then I'm not on the phone all the time because our husbands hate it. Our kids hate it. If we're always connected to our phone, that's honestly one of the reasons why I use a paper calendar, because they always see us on our phone. And so I try to disconnect a little bit from that. So that's what my Sunday looks like. If there's like an emergency of, hey, I'm just in town for today, can you show me a property on Sunday? I'll go out and show a property on Sunday, or I'll call one of my agents that loves to work on Sunday. That's me. I got to have a down day and I got to have a family day. And so far, if the clients ask me if we can see stuff on Sunday, I will ask them, do we have other options? Can we do Saturday? Can we do Monday? Like, what are the days work? I work 6 days a week. That's my only day with my family. And they all have appreciated that. So, yeah, so my Saturdays and Sundays are pretty sparse on there. Okay, so that's our daily, being specific. Our weekly. Okay, so this is also very important. So in our weekly, each week at the end, by the end of the week, when I say weekly, I'm saying essentially by the end of the week, we have a big push. We have our Friday finishers. Okay, so our Friday finishers are, you had all those things on your to-do list, and if you don't get them done every day, you're moving them to the next day. You're moving them to the next day. You're moving them to the next day. Guess where you don't get to move them? From Friday to Monday. Right? They're Friday finishers. Whatever you had on your list during the week, you need to finish it on Friday. Because what I noticed, at least in myself with this, is I would move it to Monday, and then I move it to Tuesday, and then I move it to Wednesday, and I move it to Thursday, and then inevitably it's 4 weeks later. And I'm like, oh geez, look, I've moved that thing so many times, I never accomplished it. And really, it's really gonna take me an hour. So I need to just assign a time and do it. Even though I don't want to, I'm gonna do it. We have the easy things that we check off first, and then we have the things that we don't want to do that are either challenging or uncomfortable for us. And if we keep putting those off, which it's just going to drive us crazy. Cynthia says, what I normally do is block 1 to 3 p.m. for showings or listing appointments on Monday to Friday. So you're saying I should have an actual appointment scheduled. So Cynthia, it's not bad if you want to try to show listings from 1 to 3. If you want to try to fit people into that, that's okay. Sometimes you can't fit people into that is the thing. Sometimes they're earlier, sometimes they're later. So that's okay. You can keep your 1 to 3. And you know what? That's a great goal, because that helps you. If I don't have things scheduled there, you need to go find more people to show houses to.
Right. It just works for me.
No,
Thank you.
That's a really great idea to do that. It will help you to fill up that part of your calendar. And if that's a great time to show, that's a great time to show. So whatever, like I said, whatever works from you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so the other thing that you want to recognize at the end of your week is what you've accomplished. Okay. You want to take a look back. You want to take a look back at what you did during the week. Okay, look at your calendar. Again, this is why I like check marking stuff off. I used to just do Post-it notes and then throw them away when I was done, but then I can't really see what I'd accomplished. So in the planner, I will check off everything. Like when I complete it, I check it off. If I don't check it off, it moves to the next day. But then I can go back and see, like, what exactly did I get done this week? Was I very efficient? Could I use my time better? You know, assessing yourself, because if you're going to increase your productivity, if you're going to make more money, which everybody's here because that's what they want to do, right? If you're going to make more money, we have to make sure that we're doing the things that are going to get us to make more money, not just be wonderfully self-employed people in cute offices that clean them and make them look cute, right? I mean, we have to be taking those action items too. Lakeisha asks, is it better to make calls to your leads at the same time every day, or should you switch it up? So I guess it just depends. That's a just depends answer. So if you are calling, like, say, leads that aren't answering, then yes, switching it up is probably a good idea. So if you usually call them in the morning, call them in the afternoon, or call them after 5 because maybe they're at work. If you're just doing your check-ins with your clients, then anytime is going to be fine because they're already your clients, right? So they'll get back to you when they have a minute. So you can send them a text or send them an email, and then they'll respond back on their time. My poor clients, sometimes I check in with them at 9:30 at night. And some of them are getting used to that. It's bad, but that's when my brain kind of calms down. I prepare for the next day, And then sometimes I'll send them a message, unless I know they go to bed at 8 o'clock. But most of them don't. So whatever works for you there, really don't get yourself hung up on what's the best time to call for cold calls or for leads or for anything, because the best time to do it is when you will do it. That's really the name of the game, right? And I'm gonna show you something here in a minute to kind of help you hit that one home. Okay, does everybody kind of have this? I guess I can leave it for a minute, because really number 5, I'll put it really itty bitty at the bottom, but it's the most important. Oh, like I'm drawn like a schoolgirl. Okay. Okay. We need an exclamation point on that one. Take action. And it doesn't matter what action you're taking. That's the thing. We have a tendency to stall out sometimes because we think maybe this tool is going to be better, or maybe this lead system is going to be better, or maybe I should do the door hangers, maybe I should do the thing, right? And sometimes we spend so much time trying to decide which one to do that we're not spending enough time just doing it. And if I was going to give myself any credit for how I got to where I'm at and how I sold as many houses even the first year that I did, is that I was just consistent at trying to do something. It honestly did not matter what at all. It was either knocking on somebody's door because they're for sale by owner, or it was talking to somebody in the line at the grocery store because they said something about a house and I totally eavesdrop, and then I pipe in. It was learning. It was taking CE classes so that I could be more educated. It was studying my market so I could see what was going on and be more knowledgeable, so I could regurgitate that information. Right? It doesn't matter what you're doing, but if you're not doing anything, people cannot find you. We have a tendency to think because we know that we're a realtor and we sell real estate. I hear this a lot. They're like, oh, my best friend used somebody else. Like, well, did they even know that you're a realtor? Because you're just assuming that they knew that you were. You're assuming that they knew what services you can provide. But you can't assume anything at all. There's a lot of things. Nobody pays attention to your life. They all pay attention to their own lives. All right, guys, you can always post if you have questions or topics that you want me to teach on. You can always put it in the Boost Facebook group. If you're not in there, just search Boost and you'll find it. And then you can be able to, yeah, ask me anything. If you're struggling with something, DM me. That's a lot of how I come up with topics, is just what's going on in your lives and what you guys could use information on. So, okay, have a really great weekend, you guys. I will see you next week. Thanks for being here.